Yes, boys, I'm back now. I'm done with all this traveling and I'm ready now to start tackling what's set to be a very essential, important window for us this summer. And my friends, we have some big updates surrounding RODRGYO, Delap, Ekitike, plus a host more. So you're coming to the perfect place for your Chelsea news on BlueLionsTV. Show us some love, my guys. Hit that like button, share your thoughts and opinions, and make sure you guys have the notification buttons on, because I got a lot of videos planned and coming out soon, and it might be getting to a point where I'm going to be experimenting with sometimes releasing 3 in a day, because there's just so much stuff I want to tackle and I just have to put it out there. So love, my guys, hope you enjoy, and let's get straight into things. Is Jadon Sancho set to remain? Is there some potential good news for our on loan Man United winger? It's starting to seem like that. After scoring a superb third goal to really just take the game away from Real Betis in our Conference League final win, it seems like we are now in talks with his representatives over keeping Sancho here on a permanent move. But the one big catch is Sancho would have to accept a wage packet more in alliance with our performance-related incentivized, packages that we offer. Now, when he signed for Man United from Dortmund in that 73 million deal, I think he's earning around 300,000 to 350,000 a week. It's a crazy, stupid contract, which at the time probably made a bit more sense, but we know that Man United had more funds compared to brains during that moment. So naturally, if Sancho wants to come here, he has to take a big hit on his wages. And listen, he hasn't necessarily shown that he's one of the top 5 guys in the world to be demanding top 5 player status money. Let's keep it honest. Let's keep it real. When we signed him on loan from Man United, obviously United paid half of his wages to ensure this loan goes through. So is there a possibility that Sancho could take a drastically reduced wage packet, essentially because he is going to be a squad player here, and it's not like this loan spell push his status up to being like one of the top 3 wingers in the Premier League? If that was the case, we'd be having completely different conversations. This wouldn't even be a conversation because we would have already agreed to sign Sancho for that 20 mil package. So let's see what happens here. But if you guys are asking me, I'm taking Sancho, I'm keeping him. We have Champions League football. We need a stronger squad. Sancho has bags of CL experience. Let's not forget that. Bags and bags of CL experience. The CL has kind of been his tournament. But the other thing that just pushes me towards keeping Sancho is just simple sporting principles, man. He is such a good presence to have in the squad. This stuff matters. Look how the team celebrated after winning the Conference League. You don't win anything if the squad isn't united, if they don't like each other, if they don't have that team spirit. Back in the day when we used to revere your Terrys and Drogbas and Lampards and all these, man, it was Chelsea spirit, Chelsea spirit, Chelsea spirit that we kept gassing up and talking about. It's no different now. And I just think that with Sancho such a strong presence with the dressing room, as well as having his qualities that he brings, I don't think this is someone that we should just discard back to Man United. I think him and a new left winger, when we have all these competitions we're going for, is the way forward, in my opinion. And I think if he accepts these reduced wages, which I'm sure he might have to because no other club on this planet is going to offer him the same money. If he doesn't sign for us and goes back to United, United will sell him. And if he goes for Dortmund, for example, he's not going to be earning anywhere near that type of money. So let's see what happens here. And in the comments, share your thoughts and opinions behind whether you think keeping Sancho is the right move or whether you think this is a complete waste of time and we should end things right now. Now, before I continue on, after winning the Conference League, it now means that we've won every single European trophy on offer. We've won it all. So to make sure that you guys celebrate and remember this monumental achievement right now, secure your club merch, your special Conference League merch from the Club Mega Store. You'll find links above in the card description below. And don't forget to use Nini10 at checkout to get 10% off your final order. My discount code's working again. So be quick, my guys, and secure yours now. My friends, let's discuss all these latest updates surrounding our efforts to sign strikers, because as we know, Liam Delap is set to become one of the first recruitments this summer window, coming in the perfect time with the Club World Cup looming over the horizon. Sorry for that. But anyway, we're going to give around 30% of this deal to Man City, who had a 30% sell-on clause attached. Now, at the time, we all believed it was 20%, but you know, with little details like this, when you read reports, they're never completely 100% correct. I don't think clubs want to give everything away too much, right? So, as we know, City will cash in, and we're set to sign Dilap for a pretty decent fee, considering he has that relegation release clause inside. It's expected that Delap is set to sign his contract within the next 24 hours, and we must never forget this. He rejected stronger wage packages from both Newcastle and Man United to make this move happen. Why? Because he's putting his career first. He wants Champions League football. Why? Because he wants to become an England international regular. Thomas Tuchel, in his last England squad announcement, you know, he kind of put out a message to Delap saying, if you want to become part of the squad, there's improvements you need to make. There's levels you have to go up. And I think signing for us, playing in Europe, this boosts his international hopes and careers in time for a massive international tournament with the World Cup looming literally from next year onwards. So we have to watch out for that. Regardless though, it does look like Maresca has won, because we know that Maresca and Joe Shields really pushed hard for Liam Delap. They pushed hard since January. They kept continuing dialogue with the striker. They pushed so hard that in the end the club also had to just listen to them. And is this a good sign that we could see a bit of unity and balance in this summer window? Because I've made this point before, but it can't always be different voices and different cooks presenting different meals. It has to be an alignment at times. The manager can't get every player he wants, but for one or two key positions, I think you have to listen to them, and vice versa, right? Hopefully we get it right this window, because you know what, I'm sure we're all getting a bit bored now discussing transfer stories and transfer news. In the meantime, we're learning of interesting developments surrounding Ipswich and Marc, because McKenna is a big fan of Guiu, and ideally they would love to have Guiu on loan for a season. Now, I haven't seen enough of Guiu this season. I know a lot of people have a lot of optimism on him. I have that same optimism, but what I'm saying is his performances haven't necessarily shown to me why I need to be too excited just yet. But you know, before you guys misconstrue what I'm trying to say, you know, it's not always easy to express your thoughts in like full clarity when you're just talking on the spot. What I'm saying is that I respect that Guiu has had to come to a new environment, you know, new country, new league, new everything. It's too much newness to expect his football to translate just like that. I think his football game will translate. I have full confidence in that. But what I'm saying is that it's not going to translate just yet. And I think after having a good foundational year, you know, getting used to the country, his teammates, the manager, I think the next stage for him right now is to play consistently for a season. Ideally, I would have loved if he somehow went to Strasbourg on loan and played for like a top 5 European division. But at the same time, I think the Championship is one of the best finishing schools in this country, and there's so much influx of players rising from that division and becoming top players in the Premier League that it's just not by coincidence anymore. The Championship level, the football you see there, the tactics, it has really just gone up a level now. It really has, and it really is one of the stronger leagues now in Europe. So he would have a great education under McKenna, who's a top youth coach and a top manager. And I think just playing consistently, especially in a physical, demanding, hard league like the Championship, could really just set him forward now in the future. So let's see what happens here. Let's see if Guiu does in fact leave on loan to Ipswich. And don't even think about forgetting about our efforts to sign Hugo Ekitike, because as we know, terms have been agreed upon. Is really holding up this deal now is the finances. And as I said in yesterday's video, it makes sense to me that we've gone for Delap, so he's ready in time for the Club World Cup, because Ekitike is going to take a lot more time to get done, because we don't want to pay the £84 million. We feel like it's too high. And some of the rumors that have been circling from many different reports that I've read from different outlets, you know, if I'm just to break it down for you, it seems to be between like 67 to 70 million pounds is the type of fee we'd prefer to pay for an Ekitike. So let's watch this space here. Obviously, my question is though, is this like a serious like marquee signing we want to make? Or is this more of like a housing thing where this is like an opportunistic buy? Like the opportunity is so good that we should probably try for it. But if we don't, it's not the end of the world. I say this because what does this mean for Nicholas Jackson? Delap is set to sign for us. If we go for Ekitike, there is no way we have 3 strikers. That's just a waste of money. It really is, because someone is definitely missing out and dropping big transfer value, yeah? Now, I know a lot of guys in the fan base see him maybe being moved out wide on the left flank. And I'm not gonna lie, low-key, I could see that little bit of like a Solomon Kalou transformation in Nicholas Jackson. I think the only difference being though is that he's predominantly played his entire career as a striker. And playing out wide is more than just seeing Nico carrying the ball in transitional areas, which is what he's known for. You know, the game's different when you've got 2 guys against 1, you know, when you have to hold the ball up, bring others into the game. It's completely different compared to playing as a striker. And I don't think it's insulting that many people feel like Nico could translate his game out wide. Not at all. But I don't think we're giving Nicholas Jackson enough credit or really respect him enough to see him as like a number 9 now, because he is a striker. If Nico leaves here, for example, he's not going to leave to play as a winger. He's leaving to play as a striker because he is a number 9 and we have to see him in that aspect. So I think to myself, why are we pushing for Ekitike? Is there a different conversation? Do we maybe see Ekitike as the upgrade over a Nicholas Jackson, where we feel, you know what, we could probably sell Nico now for pretty decent money, especially if the player isn't feeling as confident about his future here? We know how the club like to take advantage of players who have a little lack of confidence, and you can't blame the players. I mean, look recently at Action Punk, you know, he was kind of out the team low-key a little bit and out the squad until he committed to signing a new deal. But you wouldn't blame the kids for feeling, you know what, you tried to sign this Brazilian right back in the summer, you know, you're constantly looking at other youth players time and time again. I mean, and you've given long-term deals to Cobham stars and then look to push them on just like that. You can't really blame these guys for wanting a bit more assurance, and I'm keeping the same energy for a Nicholas Jackson, yeah. So let's continue to watch the space, because, you know, I don't see the environment existing for all 3 players. It's either going to be Nico and Delap or Delap and Ekitike. So where do you fall on this, you guys? Let us know in the comments. And I hope you guys have stayed right to the end, because we have to discuss the latest surrounding Rodrygo. Now that Champions League has been confirmed, the real deals now start to heat up and the real business starts to happen now. And the latest coming out from AS from Spain suggests that Rodrygo's future is still set to be determined by Xabi Alonso. Alonso came out recently in his presser to state that Rodrygo is a Real Madrid player. He is a spectacular player and we will need him. Still, there's slight disagreements between Alonso and Florentino Perez over Rodrygo's future, because Perez is still open to a possible departure, so that money can be reinvested into more pressing needs in the team. However, Alonso would prefer to keep him. But you have to kind of see it like this here. When managers look at their teams, they look at the strength of the whole squad, not the strength of the first 11. So obviously having Rodrygo in your squad is going to make your squad 10 times stronger compared to not having him there. But from Perez's perspective, well, if Rodrygo becomes that competition guy, we've seen how his form dipped off really hard at the end of last season. Who's to say he's going to turn that around? Especially when there might not be that concrete place for him week in, week out in the starting 11. Eventually, he'll get tired of that. And if there's an opportunity to cash in on him for maximum value, can Real Madrid just end that and ignore that easily? This is where the conversation is, my friends. And I think this is exactly why many English clubs, with us and Arsenal being the main 2 right now, are really monitoring and waiting to see what happens now. Now, as we already know, to give you guys some backstory, informal conversations have already taken place between many clubs, especially us and Rodrygo's agent. It's over things like the wage packet, how the player can be used. If there's interest of Rodrygo to come to particular clubs, if he wants to come to the Premier League, Rodrygo and his agent will know about English interest since literally last year, so this is nothing new. But the context of his career at Madrid is new now. The situation is different now. And a part of me feels like Madrid may in fact decide, you know what, maybe we are going to cash in on him. There has been big reports around that midfield player and Enzo Fernandez. Now Florian Wirtz, potential interest around him. If Rodrygo left and that money was used to maybe reinvest in the Wirtz, is Alonso going to be unhappy about that? I'm not too sure, to keep things real with you. And at the moment, I feel a bit optimistic about what could happen. Now, from what we're learning, we really see Rodrygo as that marquee guy, that statement signing. We think he ticks all boxes down the left-hand side. His ability to come inside, link up, roam. He can play his second strike, he can play on the right flank. We've looked at two other players that fit this profile, Morgan Rogers, and also recently in Joao Pedro. And Rodrygo is in that same type of profile and family of player, but you could see him as the upgrade because of everything he's done at Real Madrid. That price tag of around 84 million, it's not easy, but it's not impossible, and it's not something that would turn us down. And as I've said before, I feel like for Rodrygo, there's an opportunity now to leave Madrid, get outside the shadow of Mbappe and Jude Bellingham, where you're kind of seen as like the Willian of Real Madrid. And your best aspects are kind of being stifled a bit because you're doing your bit for the team over yourself. Come to Chelsea. Become part of the new face of the club. The Samba Latin influence we have going on. Esteval coming through, Andre Santos, Dene, plus a host more. This could be the perfect opportunity to really rightfully put you on top where you should be seen by the rest of the world, and that is signing for Chelsea Football Club. So my friends, that's everything for me today. I'm glad to be back. It's going to be a very busy next few months for me during the summer window, my guys. Yeah, Poland was sick, met a lot of good people. Shout out to all you guys that I met during my time in Warsaw, especially you three, man, that I met at halftime, during the game. Nice little chat with you guys. Hope you guys got back safe in that. And my guys, hopefully you enjoy and show some love in that like button. So I'll catch you all soon. Love. Cool.